The fabulous circuit of Namur, the ancient citadel, the fortress of Belgium, which started off Grand Prix motocross back in the late 40s. We're back here for round 8 of the World Motocross Championship. Stefan Everts on home territory. He first won in 1999, a 500cc Grand Prix here when he was a guest artiste on a 2-stroke Honda. Michael Pichon, the winner here of the 250cc Grand Prix last year, when Jules Smets won the open class ahead of Stefan Everts. So all the big boys have a great record here. This is Smets. Often suffers ill fortune here though at Namur, it has to be said. Last year was an exception. Kenneth Gunderson, number 12. Number 9, James Dobb. Number 5, Josh Coppins, carrying on his remarkable comeback. Everts in pole position, Pichon second, Smets third ahead of Gunderson, Coppins, Dobb, Gordon Crockard and Marnik Vervoets. The fabulous citadel of Namur once again welcomes top-class motocross. The first ever 500cc Grand Prix was held here in 1957. The place absolutely reeks history. The wide open left-hander. And Joel Smets is the man who rips to the front ahead of the Suzuki and 2 Yamahas. Stefan Everts in second place, Pichon third. And then it's down through the woods, the amazing woodlands that they rattle through at unbelievable speeds. There's a couple of tarmac road crossings. They've long since put dirt over the 100-metre tarmac stretch past the Monument Cafe, but it is still a fabulous one-off circuit. Smets leads it ahead of Stefan Everts and Michael Pichon. There's Coppins, number 5, flashing through the picture. Oof, and collisions on this narrow circuit as it goes through the woods. 4th place for Marnik Vervoets, 5th for James Dobb. Great start for the 2001 125 World Champion, who won here that year despite having just broken his collarbone in Sweden. Smets through the trees, the dappled light, the sunshine, the adverse cambers, the ruts, the twists and the turns. A truly stupendous circuit. And then the sharp right turn and the huge climb up through the woods, across the plateau. Dobb finds both the Motor X Kawasaki's hanging onto his rear fender. This is the terrific uphill climb back onto the esplanade in front of the main grandstand. It truly is an awesome place. Joel Smets in the lead, Stefan Everts second. No Belgian crowd could want more than that at the end of the first lap, except to have it at the end of the final lap. Just push, that's all he can do, because Everts and Pichon behind him in the race, ahead of him in the championship. Dobb still there in 5th, ahead of the Motor X Kawasaki's of Gunderson and McFarlane. Stefan tackling Joel Smets as they leap past the Monument Cafe along the stretch that used to be tarmac in the distance there. Then they turn right along the veranda, and then the sharp set of jumps uphill through the trees. Amazing test of man and machine. Smets on the KTM leads Everts on the Yamaha. And look at the drop down, look at the fortifications on the left hand side, part of this remarkable fortress which has survived 20 sieges in as many centuries. It towers above the confluence of the River Meuse and another of the huge waterways of Belgium and Central Europe. You have to get up there by cable car if you're feeling lazy. It is a remarkable place. Every motocross fan should visit it at some time. Joel Smets, winner here last year ahead of Stefan Everts and fighting to do the same again. But Everts is very, very close. Broadsiding round the long right-hander. Back down in the woods, Michael Pichon hanging on to the leaders bravely in 3rd place. Look at this precipitous drop. Absolutely no room for error. And then past the Monument Cafe, which sadly has fallen into private hands this year. So Hakan Karlqvist could never stop again for the beer he once enjoyed whilst leading and winning in 1988. Who's going to be leading and winning in 2003? Everts goes to the inside line. He's realised he's quicker up the huge steps than Joel Smets. He gets up the inside of the KTM. Side by side, they launch themselves up towards the Citadel's famous Esplanade. The Yamaha, just to say, gets the better of the KTM. Smets has to duck into the roost from that rear wheel, and he's pushed back into second place. The fans absolutely ecstatic trackside. Everts leads. The people's champion, Joel Smets, relegated to second place. Can he fight back? Belgium, possibly the greatest motocross nation there has ever been. Two of its greatest heroes here on home turf, fighting it out at Namur. Look at that fabulous stadium in the background. Everts leads. Second place Smets, 3 seconds adrift, Michael Pichon. Fourth Bavolt, fifth, a strong ride from James Dobb at last, ahead of Andrew McFarlane. Reeking atmosphere here. Stefan Everts once again competed in and won the 125cc Motocross Grand Prix for win number 62 in his career. That was this morning. This is midday. The battle is on in the heat of the midday sun with a bit of protection from the trees. Even a Finnish flag being flown here as we watch the battle between Everts and Smets. The din from the horns and the fans echoing round the trees here. Almost in part turns into a trials track. An enduro here. And that gentleman on the left was trying to persuade Joel to believe that he was actually closing the gap. He might be doing just that. He needs to. Other guys are just contenting themselves with full throttle clenched fists. Michele Rinaldi, the man who persuaded Stefan Everts to start riding 125 GPs to get himself warmed up, attuned to the track and ready to go right from the start. And Gordon Crockard goes out. A sympathetic Roger Harvey, Honda UK boss, listens to the Irishman's sad tale of woe, but no such tale so far for James Dobb, now riding the 450cc four-stroke factory KTM and riding it excellently in 5th place. Through the trees, Dobb rattles, letting the rear end of that KTM step out and do what it likes. The strong, tall Derbyshireman, 30 years old now, from Ripley, near Derby. Oh, Stefan Everts, absolutely speedway style through the arena. He's having a ball on that Rinaldi Yamaha. Oof, not so, the KTM. Joel Smets, a real bum-tightening moment for him as he dropped off one of the steepest descents then. He's keeping that 1.6 second gap though on the leader. Harry Everts, Stefan's dad, looking anxious in the corner of our screen just then. He knows that the pressure's on his son. When Harry won his first World Championship at 23, Stefan was just 3 years old. Now here he is at 30, being chased by the 34-year-old Joel Smets. Underneath the footbridge of this famous park, this circuit goes skittering through, alongside Namur Castle, the open-air theatre, the cannon, the fortifications, the whole astonishing place. Monique Bavolt still riding strongly here at Namur, the man who's been 4 times second in the World Championship, but James Dobb has him in his sights. Dobber is beginning to close the gap on the second Yamaha. Bavolt's 4th, Dobb still 5th. Bavolt's huge career in Grand Prix, started riding them back in 1986, but having said that, Dobb, as a 15-stroke 60-year-old, was on the scene by 1987, so these two have huge Grand Prix careers behind them. Bavolt's suffered terminal damage to his confidence when he led Stefan Everts by over 70 points in 1996, yet still lost the championship. His lovely, lovely lady friend, right-hand lady for many, many years, keeping a warm eye on him. Miguel Pichon, Suzuki, he's in third place, losing contact with the leaders, but still holding on, though not holding on in this position to the championship leader. A rather rude gesture from a Joel Smets fan in the background then. Rather unrepeatable, really, but certainly directed at the Frenchman Miguel Pichon. Pichon launches up that astonishing series of steps. Walking up there is a real trial, I can tell you. It's hard work. Pichon's very potent 252 stroke comes to the top of the hill. Here's Stefan Everts, he's onto his final lap, and he's opened up just a bit of an advantage over his gallant pursuer Joel Smets. Smets, though, hasn't given up yet. 2.1 second gap. You can just glimpse him through the trees, constantly, tantalisingly. Dropping downhill. The Belgian flags waving, the Belgian arms waving. They are the most passionate fans imaginable where motocross is concerned. They've been known to shove the fences and the ropes forward to force opposition riders offline if there was any danger to their beloved Belgian stars. I've seen it happening in Luxembourg. Oh, Stefan Everts almost loses it, going past the back marker and glances momentarily over his shoulder to check that Joel Smets isn't too close. Smets is. Everts is still on it. Smets swings wide. He's caught some of the trackside banner in the rear wheel. Stefan Everts could be in trouble. That green binding is on his back wheel. Has Smets seen it? Everts powering uphill, but that will definitely affect the power of the Yamaha. Smets is closing all the time up the hill. There's only a couple of 100 metres to go. Stefan Everts glancing over his shoulder again. He knows that he's got company. He's nearly off it over the jump. That stuff in his rear wheel must be acting as if the rear brake is on all the time, binding, slowing him down. He knows he's nearly there. He's got to keep going. Joel Smets, desperate to get on terms. Round the final corner. Everts holds on by about 10 metres from a disconsolate Joel Smets, who knows he was desperately close to another victory here at Namur. Miguel Pichon, well out of touch with the leaders, but a solid third place won't be quite good enough to retain his lead in the World Championship. That will go to the man who just won yet another Grand Prix here at Namur, Stefan Everts. Pichon crosses the finishing line now, but all the excitement is in front of him. Stefan Everts slumped to the earth as Monique Bavots holds on to his fourth place ahead of James Dobb. And that is 2 more Grand Prix wins on the day for the remarkable Stefan Everts. 6 times world champion, going for a record-busting 7th. And look how close he was to disaster there. That could very well have been a DNF. If he'd had a few hundred more yards to go, that Yamaha could never have made it. The rear wheel would never have kept going round. And that's where he picked it all up. And see how the bike swallowed the stuff up. It didn't spit it out, it just wrapped it round the rear wheel. All right for cruising speed, but not for racing. So he can roll off on his lap of honour as if he's got the rear brake permanently on. But really, 2 guys ought to go on this lap of honour, because that was a remarkable race between him and Joel Smets. Well, he said first he set out to beat his father Harry's record of 4 world titles. Now he's reached 6 and he's after a 7th. Everts wins ahead of Smets and Pichon. Dobb a very fine 5th. Stefan Everts kisses his 2nd trophy of the day. Joel Smets, always gracious in defeat, acknowledges the plaudits of the crowd. Back in 1951 we first had a Motocross des Nations here. It is a fantastic place for a motocross meeting. Everts then goes top of the table by 2 points. and opens up a gap of 7 on Joel Smets in third place.